Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming into another video. All right, so, you know what I'm upset about? The Lakers don't play. I'm ready for our team to get it on. I'm ready to keep this process going. We got a good win against the Orlando Magic. We got a big game against the Suns tomorrow. And it's just going to be very incumbent upon our team to keep focused. I hope to see that Tony Bradley or Tristan Thompson is signed today. We definitely need our center. And, to be honest with you, I'm not expecting those guys to come in and do nothing big or come in and fill a huge role. Most important, I think it's that we just need to make sure that we have that player on the roster. It's no guarantee that coach will choose to play that player, but at least when you have that option there, you give yourself a real size advantage, a cushion for any situations that you may need that player, which are coming. So we need to be on guard as a unit over the next 10 games to not take any of these teams lightly. There are teams at this point that are tanking. They're not tanking anymore. If we didn't learn that, we had better have learned that. The Rockets will be seen again, and we're going to have to win. It's that simple. We got games against the Clippers. We got a game against OKC. We got 2 games against Utah, 2 games against Phoenix, 2 games against the Bulls, all in a 10-game flurry. We've seen teams twice. Those Utah games, they stand out to me because their team is getting better at the wrong time for us. Ochai Agbaji hit like 4 or 5 threes in the last game. We've seen games where THT has had 30-point triple doubles. Lauri Markkanen is doing more Lauri things. Olynyk, who's been missing a good portion of the season, is healthy. Like I told you guys before, Damian Jones is now effective. At least he's effective as a player. Chris Dunn has found himself in the league again, and he plays for that Jazz team and looks great, hitting threes and stuff like that, stuff that he didn't necessarily do when he was drafted back in the day. I'm telling y'all, that 2 games against that Utah team does not make me smile. Walker Kessler, and how fantastic of a rookie that is, just as good as Rudy Gobert. A tenth of the price. Danny Ainge put together a team that was too good to tank, man. And now, because of it, they could be on the verge of knocking us out of the playoffs by just winning games they ain't got no business winning, because these guys are all stepping up and stepping out at the same dang time. Ochai Agbaji wants to turn into a superstar in the last 10 games of the season. That is not what we need. That's not what we need. But it's what we're dealing with. They just beat the Sacramento Kings last night. You know dang well that ain't supposed to happen. Even though I will admit, Sac has been slipping. Sac has been slipping like Denver's been slipping, and it's very unfortunate for them to be starting to kind of fall off at the wrong time. But I'm telling you guys, you got to see them damn Clippers. I don't know if Kawhi will be available for that game or not, but if you're counting on him not, don't. Because obviously it's the Lakers, and nothing makes him more happy than to kick us down. And that's all the Clippers ever aim for anyway. They ain't really after nothing else. We know that. So we have to see them, and we know that that's going to be a NBA Finals Game 7 for them, trying to knock us out of the playoffs and get themselves in. Last I looked at the standings, we're still 1 full game behind 7th place and 3 full games behind 4th place. But when you only have 10 games left and everybody else has to lose in order for you to win, we'll be lucky to make 10th place. We are currently in 11th place, a half game behind, I believe it's OKC. I'm not sure about that, or the Utah Jazz. But the point is, that's the standings. That's the circumstance. We're counting on people like Steph Curry to continue to lose. This is not great bets. Guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to slow down. At the end of the season, Portland, luckily they've been losing games. They're staying back. But New Orleans, they're not exactly losing every game they're playing in, which is unfortunate for us because even though, they're not exactly in a mix like, you know, I don't think that they're very good without BI and Zion, but I think BI is back. I'm pretty certain he's back. And I don't know that Zion's out for the season at all. Karl Towns is not out for the season. He's expected to be back very soon. So it's like these are things that are serious. The Timberwolves beat the Brooklyn Nets again. I think they beat them 2 weeks ago. They beat them again last night. The Warriors won their game last night for a change, if I'm not mistaken. Everything we needed not to have happened last night in regards to people winning and losing. Everything. All of our bad stuff happened. And so the Lakers need to just understand that the teams around them, they're all playing well. And when I say around, I mean the teams between 7 and 10, they're all playing well. Dallas, I think they lost last night to Memphis, but I'm not sure about that. I know there was a situation where Kyrie Irving and Dillon Brooks were supposed to be exchanging jerseys, and I think Dillon took Kyrie's and Kyrie's didn't take Dillon's or something like that. But I think Memphis won that game. But that situation was kind of funny. But it's just like anything else. Kyrie, he's big on energy, man. So if you be engaging in bad energy, he ain't gonna want to take nothing from you. He ain't. And that's just something I would tell. But it's one thing about Dillon Brooks that I want to point out is that he has a little girl. He showed us that he has a little girl, and she loves her daddy and stuff like that. He just needs to change his image, man. That's all it is. When you try to go around being the tough guy in the NBA, there's a limit. There's a limit to how far you want to take it so that people don't treat you like this. So that you don't have people not want to take your jersey. It's like, okay, we're competitors. But we ain't got to really actually be enemies for real, right? But when you engage in the kind of energy that he appears to be engaging in and stuff that people say about him, it becomes a situation where people don't really care that you're a dad no more. They just see you as a real bad guy. And I think that's what Dillon Brooks and most of the Memphis Grizzlies as a team are going to have to guard against, man. Seriously. He's going to have to really guard against that. The Memphis Grizzlies as a whole, because Ja Morant, he's went and got some help for his circumstance, and he was dealing with something much more serious in regards to his energy, but the whole team, they've really been just kind of cocky with it. And that's always good if you have a confidence that can back up the wins. But it's just how they engage with teams. It's how they go about acting like they've won a championship. I think it probably rubs a lot of competitors the wrong way. I heard something that someone said about Dillon Brooks, and I want to say something that someone, because I don't remember exactly who it was. That's not how I like to deliver things, especially in regards to this. But they were speaking on how, in regards to how he defends, he does stuff that can almost hurt people, And I don't pay that close attention to Dillon Brooks. When I do see him play, that's not what I see. That's not what I see. But the guy who was talking, I just don't remember who it was. But what they were saying was essentially he'd be undercutting people and doing stuff that just, leaves people at his position to actually really legitimately get hurt. And when I saw the jersey swap kind of situation, that's what came to mind. It's like, I don't know if Kyrie heard what I heard or read what I read or shared that opinion or what have you, but it's just like anything else. When people think you're dirty and they don't think you're a good guy, they're not going to treat you very well, man. They're not going to, They're not going to take from you what it is you want to offer them, and that feels uncomfortable. But it's the energy that ultimately comes with being that way. And we've seen guys be like that. But like I said, when the game's over, it's still respect. You know what I mean? So that's what I don't know. That's what I'm used to. But it is what it is, man. I like Dillon Brooks as it pertains to closing out on people. That's my favorite aspect of his game. When I watch him, move from the paint to the perimeter, nobody moves quicker with more intent. He just really works the perimeter very well. And so I like the player, man. I do. Even though he does things that I think hurts his teams most of the time when the Lakers see him, if we usually get a win, he's usually shot poorly. And I think that's a very real consistent thing. Now, he's played amazing in different games with different people. I've seen him play well in the playoffs and stuff like that. But That's where he really needs to get better, man. He shoots his team out of the game, no matter how much defense you play. If you're gonna go 5 for 25 or 5 for 17 or whatever, that inefficiency is gonna hurt your team most of the time. And so that's my problem with Dillon Brooks on the court with that. Like, I see him do that a good portion of the time. I see the Memphis Grizzlies, and so I just expect that if he's off, he's gonna help the other team. But I don't know, as far as how he engages with players and people barking at him and stuff like that. Just like Patrick Beverly, just like anybody else. When he's on your team, you love to have him. When you don't, he's your enemy. When he's on your team, he's your friend. But I think guys like that just got to find a way to make sure that they're not hated in real life. You keep it all in between the lines. But at the end of the day, when you leave the court, you know what I mean? You want people to have the same respect for you that you have for them. So I think that's where we all got to get better. Everybody, including Kyrie Irving. I don't think it's a good look. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't think it's a good look for Kai. Because in the environment that he's in, trying to get a bag, and there's a lot of people who don't like you, I think it's probably better to exchange jerseys with people who admire you, even if you don't necessarily love them, because it shows that you still can see who supports you versus those who really, really don't. And so any support Kyrie can receive in a situation like that may be the right play for his overall NBA circumstance. But there are things bigger than that. And I'm aware of that. And I know he engages in that type of thought process as he moves about. So, like I said, if he feels like, you know what I mean, something, I guess he just showed us that he ain't gonna shake your hand if he don't like you. He'll give you what he has for you if you admire him, but it ain't gonna be no fake stuff in regards to him doing photo ops with you if he don't mess with you. And so even if that's not the right chess move for your NBA career or whatever, it might be the right spiritual move for protecting your peace. Might be. Might not. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's just what it is, man. So that's what I saw there. I wanted to speak on it a little bit because it just made me feel a little cringe, given the whole thing. But at the same time, it's like I get it very much so, and I want to just speak on it a little bit. I think Dillon Brooks, I don't know how you feel about that. I feel uncomfortable about that. I don't know how I feel about Kyrie after that. I feel embarrassed about that. So it's a lot that comes with it. I'm pretty sure he's going to want to come at Kyrie even harder next time because he didn't take his jersey. But this is the type of thing that's like after the NBA career is over, after all that, you do really think about that stuff if you're a player. And at the end of the day, Dillon Brooks is a young guy, man. Probably grew up watching Kyrie Irving, That's the kind of thing you just feel bad about. It's like, damn, I know that's a jerk on the court, but I'm an older head, you know what I mean? I got 8 years on Kyrie. So what I end up thinking about is I see Dillon Brooks differently. I see a little kid looking at Kyrie Irving and getting his feelings hurt. That's what I see. With respect to the man that he is, but I'm so much older than Dillon Brooks, so it's like, I see my little brother and I see an athlete who rejected him. It felt funny to me. It really did. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even if it had good intentions to it, it's just like, I see two younger people. One of them didn't treat the other one the right way. It's that kind of thing. I'm a big brother type of mindset and stuff like this. So it's just like, Kai, be nice. That's how I'm looking at that. I don't know how the rest of the NBA world is looking at that, but I would just tell my little brother, be nice to the other little brother. Because you're both growing. You're both growing. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Life is too short to reject people's energy just because they act funny or your competitors now. And you never know. I tell Kyrie Irving, bro, you never know what people are going to turn into later on, bro. That's the lesson I've learned. That's what an extra 8 years of life has given me. I've seen people like Dillon Brooks turn into, like, other stuff. For example, Colin Kaepernick. I'm not saying he's turned into Colin Kaepernick. But what I'm saying is Colin Kaepernick was a player who wasn't a real super-duper star in the NFL early on in his career. And if you would have did a jersey swap with him, you know what I mean, back then, it's like, you didn't think nothing of it. Now, if you would have done that jersey swap back then, look how far that jersey would have come. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you just don't know what people are going to turn into. You just don't know. Sometimes role players turn into, like, politicians or something. You just, like, literally never know what a person's going to be in life. So I think when you're in the NBA and stuff like that, it's always probably good to just keep good rapport with the people around you, because you just don't know what people gonna do. We've seen role players turn into owners or whatever, or great coaches, or, you know what I mean? Just whatever. People just do whatever they do, man. So I just think it's while it's cool to look at what people are presenting to you right now in life, I think there's also something to be said for zooming out and realizing that people grow in life. And the possibilities can really send you in the opposite direction of what it is that their energy is showing you right now. And when you see that a couple times in life, it's like, yeah, that's possible. The biggest jerk in the world might end up being your very best friend in the end. The very person that tried to swing the bat at you will be the one to go to bat for you in the end. That kind of thing. I've just seen it, and vice versa, unfortunately. So that's what I wanted to add to that. But nevertheless, it is what it is, man. People stand on principle, and those are competitors, and they're gonna see each other in the playoffs. And like Kyrie said, there'll be another time to exchange jerseys. I'm pretty sure he'll do that. So ain't no big deal. But I think a line was drawn in the sand too. There's another aspect to that too. There's a line drawn in the sand. We ain't no soft stuff. If you're the Dallas Mavericks, that's what you're telling Dillon Brooks. Like, look, whatever y'all got going on over there, me taking that jersey from you is not gonna have you having the mental edge on me being soft, because I'm the peace guy. It ain't gonna be no peace guy when it's time for us to go to battle in a 7-game series. So I think that is a massive, massive part of this. Mental edge against a real mental edge seeker in Dillon Brooks. I think that could be possibly the biggest part of this play. And so that's something that I also want people to see, that I see. That's an angle, and a big one. So yeah, man, it is what it is. I just know that it's playoff time. I mean, you want to keep a mental edge on teams like, and players like Dillon Brooks. You definitely want that. You want him thinking about anything other than playing basketball against you. And if that's going to help doing that, that's the play. But at the same time, just like we did with Kyrie Irving when we said we didn't want Kyrie to Lakers, speaking on that, fired him up, gave his whole team bulletin board material that they didn't need. Now Dillon Brooks is going to be looking to hunt out Kyrie Irving and doing everything he can to play well against him. Maybe a little extra boost probably wasn't what he needed. But we'll see how it plays out. It should be fun. Hopefully they do match up with one another. So that's really what I'm seeing there, man. Just playoff basketball. Certain teams are starting to slip at the wrong time. Certain teams are starting to pick up at the right times. Now look at the New York Knicks. And Julius Randle had 54 points through 3 quarters, 57 points in the end, in a loss. And my thing is, I didn't see the game. Maybe he got in foul trouble. But if you got 54 points through 3 quarters and you only in the game with 57 points, something went terribly wrong. Because if you lost, now if you won, of course that's cool. 54 and 3 quarters is amazing, and you didn't play in the 4th quarter because of garbage time. But there has to be some continuation of that scoring. Maybe the defense found a way to slow him down finally in the 4th quarter. I have no idea, but you can't lose that game. And I'm definitely not blaming Julius. But I'm just looking at the Knicks and I'm saying you cannot have walked away from that Timberwolves Knicks matchup with this boy playing that well and still ain't win the game. Taurean Prince walk away with 33 points. I don't know. I got to see the highlights, but that is definitely something to talk about. Given the fact that Julius Randle is starting to show people that he has that level. And to be honest with you, I look at the type of shape he's in, the type of strength he's in, I'm not surprised. I've always told people that he was a hyper strong, super athlete. You know, Julius Randle. He's basically a large Russell Westbrook in my mind. He really is. A big, huge Russell. He can get triple doubles every night if he wants to seek it out. And so with the shape that he's in, his ability to shoot the ball at a very, very effective clip in long spurts, basically from season to season, he either shoots 40% or he shoots 20%, 40%. So when he has the ability to get that hot, stay that hot from behind the arc, he can accumulate big points. Because his body size is going to allow him to get easy buckets, and his athleticism is going to allow him to dart into the paint. His passing ability is going to open up the defense for him a bit. So it's like Julius Randle, with his natural skill set and his athleticism and the conditioning level that he's always been in, yeah, heck yeah, he can have big games where he does this to people. Heck yeah, he can. Just like Russell Westbrook, supreme athlete who can go for triple doubles and all kinds of stuff. If a guy's in ridiculous shape and he's already genetically gifted, then the levels that he's able to reach on any given night, super high, man. Super duper high. I mean, guys ain't gonna stop at 40. And so a guy like Julius Randle being able to do that, not surprised, man. I'm not surprised. You know, as fast as he can get to the rim, as efficient as he's shown he can shoot. Yeah, that 57 and 3/4, that ain't crazy. It's remarkable. But I'm telling you, physically, he should be able to do that anytime he wants. Physically, he can do that. So yeah, I'm super excited about Julius Randle continuing his career as an all-star level player. He continues to exceed expectations. He's supposed to be quote unquote a star. You know what I mean? He's not supposed to be a superstar. He's not supposed to be considered one of the top echelon players. But he continues to overachieve. Basically, he extends what you think his ceiling is in various different ways, like shooting the ball, for example. He's not supposed to be able to shoot threes, and yet he's had more than 140-plus shooting season. They got shooters in this league, shooters that don't shoot as accurately as Julius Randle. And it's like you want him not to be as good as he is. You know, that's kind of how it is when people talk about him. It's like, you know, he's putting up numbers that rival players that you're going to celebrate more than Julius. And then when you talk about Julius, you kind of like, you're going to roll your eyes. And it's like, you do understand the numbers he's putting up are rivaling some of the dudes that you like to give the greatest praise to. And his team's been good enough this year to kind of merit that. So if he can just continue to put these seasons together, it won't be long before people start giving him the credit that he deserves. You know, that's really what it comes down to for Julius Randle. He's a fantastic player, man. I got him in the same lane as Domantas Sabonis, two guys that just don't get the respect that comes with the production that they literally provide on a consistent basis. Both of them. They're monsters. But you ain't never going to look at them as no Doncic, Jokic, Embiid. They're never going to get that respect. But they'll put up numbers that'll make you look at them and say, they go up that far too. They go up that high. They do stuff like that. So I just want to acknowledge Julius Randle's star power out there, man. He's made the Knicks look really good in signing him, and things have worked out there, even though the team hasn't been overly fantastic. If they would have been, I think we'd be seeing Julius part of some real winning situations. So who knows what the future holds? They got Jalen Brunson back. They got to find ways to win basketball games like this, though. Yeah, I mean, God, he can't be going off for that. And you look up, they lost by 9 or something. That's crazy to me. But that's the NBA we're in right now. You got to score a lot to win a lot. That's what it is. And like I said about 3 weeks ago, them Timberwolves going to shock some people. I told y'all that. Those the Timberwolves role players are better than people think, and they're going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series because of how scrappy they are, how much heart they play with, and just how much they're going to catch people off guard because nobody knows they really ball like that. The Timberwolves are going to be a problem. Your McLaughlins, your Nas Reeds, your Torian Princes, you know, those guys are talented, man. McDaniels, you got to really, really understand, you know, they're going to come at you. And so they've already shown me something this year. Kyle Anderson, like, they got role players. And so with Rudy Gobert being in the paint, obviously Anthony Edwards out with the ankle. I don't know how soon he's expected to be back. I didn't even check. I don't know how. But that's a dangerous team. Mike Conley's fitting in perfectly. The continuity he has with Rudy Gobert already is in place. So it's just a lot of stuff there in Minnesota that makes you say, okay, just like Utah, the Lakers are in trouble if they continue to get games like this. And I think I told you guys they played the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously they didn't. Obviously they didn't. So we amended that in the same video. But that's the point. The Timberwolves they're beating people they have no business beating, as the Lakers are continuing to lose to people they have no business losing to. This ain't the time for this. It's not the time for the type of losing my team is doing. So, you know, as I continue to think about the team surrounding us, this is just what we're dealing with. You know, New Orleans with Zion's possibly coming back, Timberwolves with Carl coming back, OKC playing at a high level, Akbaji making Utah much better than they're supposed to be, stuff like that. You know, teams like Denver want to start slipping. You know, Phoenix still in the mix, and that's the thing. It's like, what direction is Phoenix going to start taking? I haven't done any homework on them as of yet, so I don't really know how they've been doing without KD. But Devin Booker had a 50-point game not too long ago. Like I said, Chris Paul looks like he's healthy right now. What direction are they going to take without KD? Because if they're going to ascend without KD and he comes back, that's the NBA champions. That's it. You're not going to beat them. I'm telling people right now, you're not going to beat them. If they can continue to get better without Kevin Durant, their role players, and everybody continues to stay healthy, and then he comes back and drops 35 on top of that every night, they're just going to win the matchups they're in. That's how that's going to go. They're going to outclass their their defenses every night. Anybody that comes up against them is just going to have to get outclassed, because you're going to have to throw full defense at Devin Booker that leaves KD open. That's impossible. They put the ball in Chris Paul's hands. Now he has two of the most lethal weapons he's ever played with to get the ball to, so his efficiency skyrockets. Even if he's not having a good game, he's going to make perfect passes to players that are not going to miss. And then you're looking at guys like Terrence Ross, who just pour on the spacing. Cam Payne, if he's going to step forward, pours on the spacing. Lee pours on the spacing. Okogie plays defense and can shoot the three a little bit, pours on the spacing. Ayton, not missing games, basically, running back and forth, being great conditioned athlete, gobbling up boards and getting easy buckets. I'm telling you, my interest in Phoenix is rising, because the only thing that was keeping them from being the real deal, in my opinion, was them not having a strong bench. But if Lee, Okogie, Wainwright, who's the other guy they got? The center that they get, I forget his name, but he's the real deal too. Lawndale. He gonna play well. Like, I'm starting to see they got a bench for real. Terrence Ross, Cam Payne, they got a bench. And so they're sustaining the KD injury in a way that keeps them above the fray. This Laker game is extremely important for them, for a multitude of reasons, but for this reason, because it's going to kind of tell us which way they're teetering. If they get blown out by us, then it looks like they're going to have to really struggle. If they can push past us with ease, and it shows that those role players and Devin Booker and those guys can hold it down with the team that they have right now, get to the playoffs, stay in the range that they're in. He's one of the most interchangeable pieces to ever play the game, Kevin Durant. It ain't going to be hard to incorporate him into anything they're doing. He's going to come in rhythm. He's going to come in doing all the things that Kevin does. And that on top of a good, healthy team that I just described, I don't know if there's anyone in the field that actually is going to beat that in a 7-game series. I don't think so. I really don't. But it's just about how healthy can they stay as a collective unit, and how well do they sustain any other injuries that may come. They got to keep Chris Paul and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton healthy throughout the playoffs, because it's one thing for KD to go down, having not missed him since he just got him, and he's only played like 4 games for you. But if one of those pieces go down, and now you're leaning on KD coming back from injury, chances are he's going to go down with another injury in that process. So it's all about health for them. They do have a strong bench, but it ain't as strong as it needs to be to sustain any more injuries. That's what I know. So I'm not sold on them being the NBA champion. They have to stay healthy, just like the Lakers have to stay healthy. It's a lot of teams that it's all about health, and you can't bank on that health. Phoenix is one of those. So that's what it is. Clippers, I told you guys Clippers wouldn't fall off. I'm not surprised they're not. They're not gonna fall off, man. They got a lot of talent, and Russell Westbrook on a $1 million contract is gonna make them a contender for sure. It just is what it is, man. If we could have had Russell on a $1 million contract, our team would have been so souped up, it's not even funny. Any game they lose is ridiculous to me with him at that cheap of a contract. I'm just telling y'all right now, him dirt cheap, with the production that he's capable of putting on the rim, type of pressure and passing that he's going to give you in continuity and stuff like that, the Clippers should win a lot of basketball games. They should win a lot of games to close this season out. And they are. So I'm just telling people, like, I know it's funny to make fun of Russell Westbrook or whatever. It's cute and all that to people, but at the end of the day, he is way too good of a player to be on that cheap of a contract. Just like he was not good on $47 million, he's amazing on $1 million. And that's what people need to really adjust their mind to. You gave a really, really solid Clipper team a Hall of Famer on a dirt contract. It's crazy. And then they're gonna try to compare. See, he did good with the Lakers, no, but he did good with the Clippers. I'm like, bro, it ain't the same. It's nowhere near the same. So that's what the Clippers are being able to benefit from at this point. That's that right there. And they're getting better with him. They're figuring it out. So that's a team that you got to consider going forward. I don't think they're going to lose ground. The Warriors are the team I'm most concerned about. The Warriors and the Lakers, my own damn team. I just don't like our situation because other teams are playing better than us. And I don't like the Warriors situation, even though they just won their game, because I think their road woes are real. And if their road woes are real, they can't afford to lose the games they're about to lose. They're going to have a couple more home road games to have to deal with. And in that process, they're probably going to fall if this continues. And with Wiggins just basically not looking like he's coming back, I think that pretty much calls it for the Warriors. I think that's their season. I think they're going to fight, but I definitely think that season this is not a Warrior year. It ain't. So when they get eliminated, it won't be a surprise to me. Where they get eliminated, I don't know, but this ain't a Warrior year. I'm just telling y'all that early. So that's it, man. Like I said, Denver, if they hold on to that number one spot, I think they got a rough first round to deal with. They got a very rough first round ahead. So they just need to be prepared for that. I don't even think they need to be thinking about seeding at all. They need to make sure that each and every player on that roster is healthy now. That's all. Healthy and playing well. So these are things that I'm thinking about, man. The Western Conference is looking real juicy. We saw the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics fell out of first place. Joel Embiid is stepping into an MVP-like energy right now. People think he's going to be the leading candidate for MVP. I didn't think it would be possible, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I didn't think he passed the rock enough. I just don't. And he said the same thing. He said he just doesn't accumulate as much assists as Jokic does because of the offense he's in, and he could do more assists. That's what he was essentially telling us. Like, if they ask him to make more plays, he could definitely do it. If they put him in a Denver-like offense, he thinks he can make in comparable ways. I ain't going to doubt a player that great. I ain't going to doubt him. But I know Jokic has the passing gift, and he is in that situation. And because of it, I just think that his efficiency is going to outdo everyone, including Joel. But that doesn't necessarily mean that voter fatigue isn't a real thing. Voter fatigue is real. And just because a guy mathematically deserves to be the MVP does not mean that they just won't go ahead and give it to the other guy just because. It's like that. It's really like that. So I will say that I believe that Jokic will deserve the MVP at the end of the season, but whether or not he will be awarded it, that's up in the air right now. That's up in the air. But in my mind, Jokic is the MVP for third year in a row, and it's just simply because his efficiency and his usage and his overall impact on his team it towers over the field. It just does. And so if Embiid is able to overcome that would be tremendous for him. But I think it's a very tall task for him and anybody else. Giannis, Doncic. It's gonna be hard for you to win MVPs with this dude doing this. So that's all there is to it. It's gonna have to be voter fatigue, in my humble opinion, to push someone forward past him. I really believe that. If he's doing what it is that he's prone to do with the Denver Nuggets. So my gut is telling me Joel Embiid gonna get his heart broke for the third year in a row, y'all. That's what my gut is telling me. We'll see how it play out. So yeah, man, that's what I have to say, man. The Lakers got real things to consider, but we don't have a game to play. I didn't check to see who plays today, but there's always a game that affects what we have going on coming up. So we just got to pay attention to the teams. New Orleans, OKC, Golden State, Portland, Utah, New Orleans, Dallas, and there might be another team in that mix as well. But those are the teams we must fend off. These are the teams we must beat if we face them. The Clippers, the other team. These are the teams that, if we didn't win the season series against them and there's a tie, we're the ones that fall out. Like, these are the type of things, like, that's why you don't take these games for granted, LA. That's why you don't wait too long to fill your roster up, LA, all that good stuff. And I think Bron is still waiting to see if this team is worth coming back to. Me personally, that's what I think. I think if we're mathematically out, he ain't going to come back. So that's what it is. Anthony Davis going to have to step forward. We can't count on Austin Reeves to do 35, 6, and 6 again. He ain't going to do that again. So Anthony Davis is going to need to. As many times Anthony Davis scored 35 points, I'm pretty sure he's looking at us rolling our eyes at how much we're loving the fact that AR saved the day against God knows whoever that was, Orlando. I can hear that argument in my head. Did y'all really watch me score 35 points 106 times? I ain't get that love. The one time he does it, but I would tell Anthony Davis, if that's what's going on, if that's what you're thinking, brother, this is what you need to know. It ain't about that you did it, it's when you do it. It's when. AR did it when our season was on the line, when we needed to win, when we were desperate, coming off a 2-game losing streak against teams we had no business losing to. That is when you need to step up and do that. If you don't do it then, it ain't gonna mean as much. That's the difference. So that's what I gotta say, man. He needs to step up and give us 35 tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. Do it when it's time for us to succeed. Do it when the playoffs. Do it when it's winning time, because that is ultimately the only thing we're judging Pantheon greats by. If Austin Reeves steps up in a game like that, we're giving him his flowers, but we don't necessarily expect that. That's Anthony's job. He's being paid to do that. He's being paid the money that Austin Reeves will never get to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there should be any jealousy in our locker room as it pertains to what Austin just did, or I don't think there should be any energy about, why didn't y'all give me love? No, do it when it matters most, bro. That's what you're getting 200 for, so that you do it on the day that Austin did it. That's the message. That is the full message. So that's how I'm going to leave this video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed my NBA chat video. It's me ringing off my thoughts. Minimal homework studying. I didn't do a whole lot. I just turned on the camera the first thing in the morning and gave y'all what I got. And I hope that I was able to be constructive in what I said. I hope my team can be the victor in this little battle we got here, because we don't get to benefit from our pick, unlike a lot of those teams. So we the ones that need to be there more than most of them. And as I told you guys, there are teams who are at the bottom, who are fighting for their playoff lives. There are teams at the top who are starting to slip at the wrong times. I think the potential of seeing some 7-game first rounds are pretty high. 7-game first rounds. You might see them on both sides. Depending. Maybe not the Eastern Conference with Milwaukee up there, maybe not. But in the Western Conference, with the 1 and the 2 seed, I think you could actually see 2 7-game series with those 1-8, 2-7 matchups. Because it's shaping up for the bottom teams to be better than they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Just in this grand scheme of things. And it's shaping up for those top teams to not be. That's just how it's going to look right now. So that's what I got to say, man. BDL44. I thank you all for watching.